After so many air coolers, I think it's time to go back a bit with AIO cooling in terms of water cooling. Today we're going to take a look at Cooler Master MasterLiquid 360 Core 2 White, and to be honest, I haven't found any information about it even on their official website. So Cooler Master is going to definitely release this one, and it's going to be definitely a chill zone in your PC because this one does an outstanding work. Now, unfortunately, I don't know how the inner part of the pump is designed. Is it anything similar to the past, I don't know, for instance, Atmos or Ion or any other past one? But in general, it does look quite cool because as you can see right here, we have infinity mirror effect with the Cooler Master logo inside, and it looks quite nice and subtle, which is really cool. Now, when you open the box and what you get inside, of course, apart from the accessories and mounting kits and everything all together, the good thing about the mounting kits is that you don't have to change the mounting bracket on the block depending on the Intel or AMD, because what they did is, and what is actually a really smart move, they actually extend the AMD locking mechanism in terms of the screws were positioned into Intel one. So basically you're going the same way as Li and Li did initially with those extensions, that you have to remove the original retention brackets and then place their retention brackets with the original screws from the motherboard. And this is where you basically don't have to think about anything else or more than that. After that, you have to place thermal paste, remove the plastic foil from the block, and just use 4 locking nuts to tie the block on the processor. That's all there is to it, guys. Quite straight, simple. Now the thing is, the fans are pre-attached to the radiator, and they are pre-attached in that way so the radiator is supposed to go on front, and this is why in this scenario I left the cables visible in this case, so you actually see how it looks and what you can expect. In those terms, you either have to swap the fans in terms of untie 12 screws and tie them back on, and swap them around, swap the fans around, giving you the cable management from the backside as it should be. Because I think many of you are going with the radiator at the top, regardless of the case. And eventually, in some scenarios where the limitations are at the top for 240 or 280, you're going at the front position with a 360. If you have the possibility, if you have the budget or anything similar to that. Don't get me wrong, of course, I'm just discussing. So there's that fact. You have to swap the fans on the other side if you want to place the cooler, the radiator at the top. Now, we're having daisy chain possibility. What this means is the fans have a proprietary cable that needs to be connected to a certain extender. Now this extension goes to PWM, which gives you possibility to control the fans via PWM, and then it extends into addressable RGB 5 volts 3-pin header, which is also a splitter. So you can connect the pump to that splitter and just use 2 cables, basically. Just use 2 cables to your motherboard to use the connections and to actually be able to control everything all together. Of course, the pump has 3-pin DC connection, so you do need to connect that as well, and that's all there is to it. Quite easy and straightforward when we're talking about installation, nothing too drastical. Now, when we're talking about the details, it supports up to LG1851 and AMD AM5 and AM4. Water block dimensions are 83 x 76.2 x 52.3. Radiator dimensions 394 x 119.2 x 27.2. It's made out of aluminium and the tube length is 400 millimeters. The dimension of the fan are 120 x 120 x 25. We have addressable RGB. Speed is from 650 to 750 RPMs plus minus 10%. And even though with that speed, they are a bit louder. So it says 30 decibels, but in my honest opinion, they are louder than the ones that that some other brands stated they are 32. So yeah, airflow is 70.5 CFM, and this definitely boosts the performance of the AIO. Air pressure is 2 millimeters H2O, and mean time before failure is above 160,000 hours. We're having a sleeve bearing, 7-pin PWM plus addressable RGB, but basically that's 4-pin PWM. So yeah. The pump runs at 3100 RPMs plus minus 300, 50,000 hours mean time before failure, basically above 50,000 hours. Noise level is 25 decibels, and honestly, I didn't even hear it, so that's good. And when we're talking about the pump, so we have a dual chamber pump, which is upgraded design, which results in a compact cooler with great performance. And definitely it is. They also changed a bit the fans, so we have a brand new fan blades and revamped aesthetics. So that's something different and quite easy installation, as already stated. So in those terms, we have, we'll get to the part of the performance, but we have a really cool design and a really simple installation because everything is out of the box pre-assembled. The only thing, as I stated, what you have to do if you place it on top, and as you can see, the cables are visible. So you either have to revert the fans on the other side, so the cables run to the back, or you go with the side or front mounting. It's really up to you. And in those terms, so far, we have two outstanding points when we're talking about visual aspect and when we're talking about installation. Now for the performance. Performance is interesting. So Cooler Master MasterLiquid 360 Core 2 White against AMD Ryzen 7 9800X3D. I did a 64 Extreme Edition. CPU went up to 68 degrees with the clock speed at 4774 MHz. And the GPU, irrelevant in this scenario. Now, Cinebench, I think we have a pattern here already because I was first surprised, but I guess this chip runs quite stable in terms of stable thermals and stable clock speed. As this is what you can see in my all benchmarks regarding this processor. We're having 82, eventually touching 83 two times degrees on the processor, and 50-177 once, and then everything else 50-176 megahertz clock speed. So we're having scores that start at 21,279. It builds up constantly throughout 5 benchmarks, reaching 21,357, then it drops, and then it kicks up again at 21,371, and then it circulates around 21,340. Now, I was really hoping it will go above 21,400s because everything that all the benchmarks that were heading upwards. So I was really hoping that it would reach those numbers. But regardless of that, I can't take that into consideration what future will bring. This AIO performed good. The fans are a bit louder, and I do have to admit that. They are a bit louder. The pump in general is quiet. It's really good. It performs when we're talking about liquid flow and everything all together, because I'm talking here about what I see in the performance and the results. So I presume that something has been done differently in the pump and the block and everything all together. So what we have right here is design, what I stated. We have easy installation and we have a good performance. This is really good, and I'm really satisfied with this one in general in terms of all of that I mentioned. The link, well, I can't give you the link since it's not published in terms of that. But if I find something in the meantime, I'll definitely place a link in the description below. And that'll be all for today, guys. See you tonight. I think tonight there's going to be another video. So yeah, see you soon, guys. Bye-bye.